Yes, hello everyone. Fáilte Rashkity Cúilín Media. Welcome back to Cúilín Media. It is episode 29 of the channel since we launched it in September. It's me, Seamus Brady, joined by Matthew Hurley, and we have a bumper weekend of action from across the club championships to look forward to. Matthew, we were saying in the weekend preview show that there wasn't the same quantity of games, but my God, in terms of the heavyweight clashes, we had the All-Ireland Senior LGFA final between Kilkerrin, Clonberne and St. Ergn's Mullyglass, the All-Ireland Club Camogie Final between St. Finbarrs and Athenry. We had the Ulster Senior Football Final between Scotstown and Kilcoo. History made across the board as well. Muckalee winning the Junior LGFA Championship has to get a shout for reasons which we'll get into later in the pod. But all in all, how did you find the weekend of action?
Yeah, very good weekend of action in Gaelic games, of course, with the three finals and intermediate and junior and everything like that. And you might notice as well, for anybody that thinks, what jersey is your man wearing? Well, I'm wearing the jersey of the League Cup champions in Scotland, who won today against Celtic 3-1. Their second ever League Cup, and I think your second ever major trophy same earned. So congratulations to everybody across the pond there. Absolutely outstanding, buzzing about that result in particular. Look at the other games this weekend. Kilkerrin, Clonberne, what a record. You can't say anything else about them. Obviously, there is Ballymacarbery's record to catch. They've 7 All-Ireland won between 1989 and 1995. So hopefully, Kilkerrin, they've produced an absolutely unreal team and they don't look like slowing down anytime soon. The Ulster final between Scotstown and Kilcoo, I think we said it in our private chat last night between ourselves and the group chat that Scotstown they played a more entertaining football than Kilcoo, so it was probably the right result in terms of that. And in terms of the Camogie final today, entertaining game. Will you say maybe a Bar's slip up for the second week running in terms of the codes? Or an Athenry unreal comeback late by Trace Donoghue, of course, from midfield, and obviously the goal from Anna Jordan. But yeah, look, interesting weekend of action, and obviously the games are quieting down. Next weekend, obviously, we have 6 games only next weekend across all the grade, across junior, intermediate, and senior. So yeah, the games are decreasing, but I think that's a sign that Santi is just around the corner.
Absolutely, and it's interesting because it's a different challenge, isn't it, man? Because let's be honest, when we were back in September and we're doing the stop the bus days, and the challenge back then was the quantity of the games, and it was like, we have to try and cover every club championship as much as we can and get to every code and everything like that. And just for anybody listening along, like all 4 codes across 32 championships, it's pretty tough, like, to cover them all. And but we managed to get it done, I think, to a good standard. And now the challenge is different. The challenge is there's less games. So therefore, the breakdown and the analysis has to be better because, you got to give these teams the respect that they're owed for getting this far in the competition. And the games are obviously increasing in importance along every single step of the way. And there is nothing more important in the club championship than an All-Ireland senior final. And we had 2 of them across the weekend. One on the Saturday, which was the football, and one on the Sunday today, which was the Camogie. And we're going to dive into them one by one. But first, if you are new on the channel, get involved in the discussion. Let us know what was your highlight from the weekend. What were the main moments that stood out to you? And if you have any questions as well along the way, drop them in and we will get involved with you in the discussion. I believe Liam is supposed to be joining us at some point as well. Aaron, I don't think is going to be around with us. I think 12 pubs might have hit him hard last night or something, but he's not with us here tonight. But anyway, Matthew, we will crack on here and we're going to start off with the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship Final. Kilkerrin, Clonberne, just keep going. It is absolutely sensational at this stage. Matthew, you know better than anybody that the stats behind this team. But Kilkerrin, Clonberne are one of the great dynasties that we've ever seen in Gaelic games. 5 All-Ireland Club Championships in a row. 53 games they've won in a row. They are absolutely generational, this team. They've the likes of Nicola Ward, Olivia Divley, players who would walk into any team in the country. To do what they've done is unbelievable. And the teams that they've beaten in the All-Ireland finals as well, from Kilmacud Crokes to Ballymacarbery to now St. Ergn's, who had beaten the likes of Crokes, Clonberne, Kilkerrin. Once again, Kilkerrin just proved they're a level above everyone else.
They're a generational team. That's all you could say about this Kilkerrin Clonberne side. As you mentioned there, 53 games unbeaten or 53 wins in a row. Their last loss in championship football was against Mourne Abbey in 2019 in the All-Ireland final. That was it's just a sensational record for everybody involved. There are 5 All-Irelands in a row, 8 Connacht titles in a row, 13 Galway Senior Championships in a row as well. They're officially the second most successful LGFA team of all time in terms of putting together All-Irelands after Carberry obviously winning 7 in a row between 1989 and 1995. Like, they are going to be gunning for that record. It's as simple as that. And you look at every position on the Kilkerrin Clonberne team, it's full of inter-county quality, or at the very least, high club quality. You look at defence, you look at Nicola Ward, you look at Sarah Gormley, you look at Lisa Murphy in goal. In midfield, you have the likes of obviously Siobhan Divley in around that area. You have Louise Ward, absolutely superb players. Olivia Divley up front, Ava Noon up front, Lindsay Noon, Chloe Miskell. The list is endless. And when you put it together as well, Ailish Morrissey, who's a fantastic player as well, is actually out with an ACL injury. So that's another player to add to their bow as well. They have a fantastic group of players. They have a fantastic mentality. And I think one of the interviews last night, actually, TG Carr, one of the players were actually saying that they were happy just to get one in 2021 when they beat Mourne-Abbey. Or I think it was 2021, 2022, winning around that time. And they were happy just to get one on the board. They never would have thought in their million years that they'd win the next 4 afterwards. It's just been absolutely sensational. And even Argonauts, even after the goal by Leah Stewart in the first half, like Argonauts seemed to be getting a stranglehold on the game, and you were thinking 1-4 to 1-2 around the halfway mark. You were thinking, okay, Argonauts might put a bit of a onus on the game here. But as soon as Kilkerrin clocked the kick out, I would say, on Argonauts, they pushed up on them, and there was no going out from an Argonauts point of view. And when Lindsay Noon hit the back of the net in the second half, that was it. It's as simple as that. It was game over. And what impressed me most, their shooting wasn't great. It was 45% in the final. But what I will say defensively, and I looked at that this morning, I was thinking, like, they only conceded 2 frees inside their 45. They won 12 turnovers inside their 45. That's about an 86-87% tackle rate in their defensive line. Like, their tackle technique is so good, Kilkerrin Clonberne. Their defensive line is so underrated in many aspects of it. And I think many people look at Olivia Divley, Ava Noon, Chloe Miskell as being the stars of the show, Louise Ward to a lesser extent as well when you look at scores. But the main thing you have to look at with this Kilkerrin team is the defensive line. They're absolutely sensational. They don't allow their opposition players a sniff. Marie O'Neill, absolutely fantastic throughout the championship. I don't think she got much touches of the ball last night, to be honest with you. Cathy Carey only got 1 point on the board. Like, this is an Argonauts team that, to be fair, and we covered it in the preview show, had put up major numbers up until the final. And Kilkerrin just shut them players down. It's as simple as that. They were absolutely sensational. When you look at their defensive line, like Lisa Finnegan, only back from injury this season, Sarah Gorman, as I mentioned, Kathleen Mee, Niamh Divley, Nicola Ward, Hannah Noon, like absolutely sensational players there as well. And Siobhan Divley, who got the player of the back row in the middle of the park, they were absolutely brilliant. And like, they have a brilliant squad, they have a brilliant spine as well around the team. Like, imagine the club spine of Sarah Gorman at fullback, Nicola Ward at centre back, midfielder Siobhan Divley, Aisling Madden, half forward or centre forward of Louise Ward and full forward Chloe Miskell. You won't get
Divley just chilling on the wing. It's crazy. You've got chilling at the wing forward. You got Eva Noon in there, a corner forward. You've got Ailish Morrissey, who isn't around for this year because of her injury. And it's like, yeah, for most club teams, that's the breaking of a team losing a player of that caliber. Like, that's the other thing is, like, when I'm saying about the dynasties as well, one of the main things for me that puts them up there with the great dynasties that we've ever seen is the way they're winning these championships. It's not close. Usually it's not close. Like, what was their average that they won games by? Like, what was it? Like, in the final, as you said, with 15 minutes to go, I had no doubt in my mind that the game was done. I was like, this is just because what Kilkerrin are is they're so strong around the middle. Nicola Ward, Siobhan Divley, Louise Ward, Hannah Noon. And teams find it so hard to get past that half-back line consistently. And the reality is once Kilkerrin had Argonauts boxed in, especially in that third quarter after halftime, that's where they did all the damage. And they got that second goal. And once that second goal went in, you just knew that the game was done because Kilkerrin's defence is too strong to concede the numbers that Argonauts were going to have to put up to do that. And Argonauts, are a quality side, but Kilkerrin still looked too strong from very, very early on in the contest. That's when you know how good they are. And the reality is, you look throughout the championship, they absolutely hammered their way through Galway again. They absolutely annihilated everybody in Connacht. They came up against Comer Rangers, the Munster champions, in the semi-final, and they held them to 3 points, made it look easy. And now in the All-Ireland final, they've won it by 6 points, and never once did I think that they were going to lose the game. They are simply the best. They are probably, they are without question one of the best dynasties. And you could argue they're up there because like the competitiveness of the games has got, you know, the standard has got higher and higher as the game has progressed. Obviously, in the early days of the codes and everything like that, you had a few clubs that were good at it. But the reality is like now, 50 years on from the founding of the LGFA, it's in every pocket of the country. And Kilkerrin, for some reason, something in the water around there that they're just better. I don't know what is going on, but what do you think? You mentioned about the defense, and I'm guessing you have the stats to boot. What, like when I'm saying there about how they seem to win easy, I'm guessing that's backed up by stats as well.
It is because when you look at it, their average winning margin was 16 points up until the final. It was 315 to around 7 points. It was in and around that margin, and they only conceded goals in 2 games in the run up to the final. That was against Westport and obviously the Clare Galway game in the groups, the earlier round of the Galway Senior Championship. And obviously, when they conceded the goal through Leah Stewart, it was almost like it wasn't well worked already. Like when Orcas tried to work the ball, they just were in with a brick wall with Kilkerrin and Clonberne, and there was no getting out of it. When they got the goal, it was a certain amount of luck. Cathy Carey hit the post, dropped out to Leah Stewart, and it hit the back of the net. And in some instances, that's maybe a square ball. So look, they got lucky with the goal. And what I would say, like when Orgnuts were rushing for a goal, when they needed a goal at the very end to try and make this game interesting, Kilkerrin just shut up shop so easily. And they got their matchups bang on, I would say. Like Marie O'Neill, quiet. Cathy Carey, quiet. I know Brona Devlin was a blame for Orgnuts, and that was a huge loss to them. I will say that. She did come on later on in the game, but she didn't start the game. I don't know, was that an injury or something like that? But that was a huge loss. Like other than Leah Stewart, there wasn't really anything for the Orgnuts team, but that's more of a credit to Kilkerrin and Clonberne and how well they did defensively, how they shut down Orgnuts' main shooters, and as well as that, they don't concede much goal chances in the game. And what I mentioned is that there about their turnover rate compared to their free concession rate and things like that. Like they only conceded 2 frees inside their 45, 12 turnovers inside their 45. Like it is just like they tackled so well. Like and when the Orgnuts players were coming into a dangerous area and a technical area, the Kilkerrin players knew what to do instantly. They just boxed them, and they were sensational at doing that all night last night. And even when things were a bit ropey, even when they were only 2 points up, when Orgnuts were trying to get probably a clutch in the game in many ways, they just stood up so tall, and they were absolutely sensational in its own right there. And they were absolutely brilliant last night. And who's to say they won't go for 6 or 7 in a row like the Ballymac girls did in the 90s? Like it's sensational kind of record, and as well as that, their defensive line was so good last night. Their attack wasn't perfect, but so many other aspects of their game were just so good on Saturday evening.
Yeah, they were absolutely perfect. There's no question about it. And the thing is that, as we're talking about with the dynasty, like they are showing no signs of slowing down when you bring up the stats and everything like that. And then you're talking as well about that they were missing a player like Ailish Marcy. There's arguments that they could get even better, like when she returns to the side. Yeah, it's quite frightening. If there is somebody who can knock them off, is it a situation like Sarsfields where you think they're more likely to be caught early stages in the county? Because they are kind of similar to that when they get out of Galway, they just seem to know how to treat the season, how to manage out their energy, everything like that they know it's a marathon, not a sprint. And they seem fairly unstoppable. They remind me a lot of how Ballyhale Shamrocks used to be when they were at their peak, that whenever they got out of Kilkenny, that was like probably the harder championship. Then they get out into Leinster, manage out the first few Leinster games, and they have a few crunch ones, win Leinster, and then they're into the Final Four. And they kick on from there to an All-Ireland title. Kilkerrin have gone very, very similar. That they tend to have a game done by 45 minutes. Then they make the changes, see the game out, kick it into cruise control. And they're going to be hard to stop. I've often looked at Kilmacud and thought, do you know what? On a given day, I think Kilmacud have the players to beat them. They nearly beat them last year. And then you remember the semi-final, I think it was 2 years ago, where they played them in a country ground. And I think that one went to extra time. But I think since then, I think Kilkerrin have got better. And I actually think Kilmacud might have taken a back step, hence why they were nearly beaten in back-to-back finals in Dublin. And they have fallen to Ignitz when they had home advantage in the semi-final. So it's really, really difficult. Can you see anybody beating them before they do the 7 in a row? I know that it's like we're talking about 2 years down the line here, but can you see anybody stopping them?
They've beaten nearly everybody that they've come across, like 5 different opponents in their 5 in a row quest. They've beaten Mourne who were the side that beat them in the All-Ireland final in 2019. They beat Kilmacud Crokes, who were absolutely sensational in their own right in Crow Park last year, but they still got over the line there. Donaghmore, who won All-Ireland in the past, back in the 2010s from Monaghan. Obviously Ignitz, Ballymacarbery, one of the best club sides we've seen in LGFA history as well. Like, they've beaten nearly every side, every club side that seems to stand tall against them. Like, honestly, Seamus, I can't see anybody around the LGFA sphere stopping them. Never mind. Like, I don't think anybody in Galway is stopping them. I'll just put it straight like that. Nobody in Galway is.
The potential thing that I would say, and it's not something that I would like to happen, I'm just going to preface it with that, but the curveball could be if they lose a couple of girls to the AFLW, if they lose a couple of girls to Australia, if Nicola Ward goes, or if Siobhan Dively goes, or someone big goes, all of a sudden they could lose 2 or 3 key players. Maybe then you could see them kind of take a back step, because I remember for Dunboyne, that was absolutely huge, losing Vicky Wall when she went down to the AFLW, because then she was still playing for me, but not playing club anymore. Similar thing with Kilmacud Crokes when Grace Cos went down to the AFLW. She wasn't playing. She was a big part of their team around midfield. So that's the curveball. But if they keep all their players, if they all stay and they don't go down to the AFLW, I don't see anybody stopping them, especially not next year. 2027, yeah, maybe we can have a conversation then, but I think they're definitely going to win next year's one, because they've won this one. I wouldn't dare say straightforward, but I would say that from the beginning, me and you have said they're going to win it, and not in any game at any point of the journey did I think that they weren't. Like, I thought that, I never doubted them at any stage of the journey. They are absolutely exceptional. Now the question is on where do they rank? I said one of the great dynasties in Gaelic games history. They have to be up there, but we've established that. But before we move on, we'll touch on St. Ignatz, because what a year it was for them. I mean, you're talking about winning the Antrim Championship, which is an incredible achievement, then winning their first ever Ulster Championship, beating Clonberne, who were fancied by everybody to win Ulster, and then beating Kilkerrin in the Ulster final, who have the likes of Maria Canavan, Aoife Horsk, really, really good team. They won that game easy. Then they go away to Kilmacud Crokes, massive underdogs. They beat Kilmacud in their own backyard in a fantastic display, and they were worthy winners. They get to the final. They've lost the final, but they put up a good fight, especially in the first half. And they put a bit of a comeback together in the final quarter. But they've had an amazing year. It's just Kilkerrin are like, they're just too good. But St. Ignatz had a majestic year.
They had a fantastic year. And we said it in the previous show that whatever happened in the final, they would have had a fantastic year, and we can't really mask over that. Like, winning your first Ulster Championship, winning the Antrim Championship the way they did, like rocketing home 40 goals on their journeys at the final before Saturday's game, beating Kilmacud Crokes, the first ever Antrim team to get to the All-Ireland final. That shouldn't be forgotten in the daylight. And they were absolutely sensational throughout the whole season. It was just in the final, it was just Kilkerrin got their matchups bang on. They nailed down Marie O'Neill. They nailed down Cathy Carey. And to be fair, you have to give a lot of credit to Leah Stewart. what a performance, I would say. Yes, she had 4 on her back, but I don't think she was playing around that area. She was spent most of her time up in the forward. She scored 1-2 from play. Very good display from her. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see her in the Antrim jersey next season. I don't think she is on the Antrim Intercounty panel, but if she is, look, she's another string to the Antrim board with Marie and all them Antrim players, obviously Teresa Menon and all them. Like Antrim have some very good footballers that they should do very well in junior next year. They were very unlucky to lose to Louth in the junior final in the All-Ireland this year. But Argonauts, look, they'll take a lot of confidence from this journey. They've been on a brilliant journey themselves, and they didn't lose that badly to Kilkerrin. Like, let's be honest, Kilkerrin are just a class above. They're a sensational team, and we said it in the previous show, it's not disrespect to Argonauts that we're saying that that they're going to lose this game. It's just the fact that Kilkerrin are so good, and no team are going to stop them on their best day. And look, Argonauts had their chances, things like that in the first half in particular, trying to gain a bit of an advantage on them, but it just wasn't enough. And once Kilkerrin did box them in the second half, there was just no getting out from there. And yeah, look, Argonauts have had a fantastic season. That shouldn't be forgotten in the cold. They were absolutely sensational throughout the whole season, and they should be very proud of their efforts. One more thing as well, Marie O'Neill, she got a bit of a concerning injury, I think, towards the end of the game. Hopefully she's all good to go for the league next January and February. Hopefully she's all good to go, because she's had a fantastic year for Clonberne County this season, and hopefully her year didn't end on a sour note by gaining an injury, but hopefully she's okay, and hopefully she'll be ready to go for Antrim in January.
Absolutely. Well, that brings a conclusion to the end of the All-Ireland Senior LGFA Championship for 2025, and once again Kilkerrin Clonberne are the queens of the championship. They are absolutely superb. 5 All-Ireland titles in a row. It is one of the greatest sporting achievements in Ireland in the 21st century. Unbelievable stuff from them, and their glorious run continues. Matthew, we're going to move on next to the next game, which is, of course, the All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship Final, which took place today, and this one did not have a definitive ending. Athenry won 12, St. Finbarr's 15 points at Croke Park. This game took place today, of course. Look, the reality is, this game, we knew coming in, this was going to be toss of a coin for who won this one. We knew this game was going to be so close. Athenry against St. Finbarr's. It finishes level. We have another day out.
Yeah, it was kind of a game. It was kind of a mad one. Like in the second half, the Bars were 6 points up, and when Emer Hurley puts the ball over the bar, you're thinking, okay, the Bars have this wrapped up, and it's going to be a historic achievement for the club in being the first club ever to win an All-Ireland Senior title in 3 different codes, and the history was on the shelf there. Then Therese Donoghue, who's absolutely sensational throughout the game, it gets a shot off, hits the bar, and then Anna Jordan puts the ball in the back of the net, and then there's a bit of nervy moments. The Bars, to be fair, I think they could have put it away earlier, I would have said, in fairness. Like they had their chances, the likes of, obviously, like Kiva McCarthy had a big chance in the second half. Elliot Wiggington Barrett had a huge run as well, passing it off to Emer Hurley, and the ball ended wide. And there were huge chances just to put this Athenry team at arm's length and away out of the Dolphins. But at the same time, once the game was 2 or 3 points, Athenry were always going to get back into the game. 2 free throws have been a rabbit, and they're back in it, bang back in it with a 1 point game. Bit of a scuffle on the field. The Bars lose the ball, and then obviously Kayla Madden gets the equalising score, and we're going to another day. And I think Athenry will be absolutely delighted, because they came out of that game like they looked dead and buried with about 5 minutes to go in that game. But I think the Bars, and I seen Stephanie Pudge, the captain for the Bars as well, a shot of her at RT after the game, and she looked absolutely devastated like the rest of the team. It was just a kick in the, I would say a kick in the face, really, for the Bars players. It was just absolutely, it was so I would say gut-wrenching from their point of view, because they had that game by the scruff of the palm of their hand, and they just let that game slip in there. But in fairness, Athenry, it was a brilliant comeback from them. But Bars would be very, very disappointed over losing that game. Not losing the game, it was still a draw. There was another game to play at the start of 2026, but it almost felt like a loss really for the Bars. They had that game by the scruff of the hands, and they just let it go. It was just so unfortunate from their point of view. They shot so well up until the last few minutes. It was above 70%, 60%. It did a couple of wides, and it was just, it was just so hard for them to take. In fairness, to draw that game. Like, Attenroy will need to improve on a lot of things, I think, including their shooting and things like that. Particularly in the first half, it wasn't up to scratch. And at halftime, the Bars were 2 points up, and they were against the wind. What the Camogie pundits were saying on RT, in fairness to them. And I thought the Bars would have wrapped it up, and especially when there were 6 points up, they kind of have it here. But ultimately, Attenroy came back into the game. You have to give them a lot of credit over that. But for the Bars, that is a bad draw to have, in fairness to.
Yeah, well, we are going to give you a break there to have a sneeze if you need it, because Liam is here and he's jumped into the studio. Welcome, Liam.
Howdy, lads. How's things?
What's the crack? Welcome to the breakdown of the weekend. First thoughts, we'll just get your thoughts very quickly because we have just moved off the game. But Clonberne beating, of course, St. Ignatz yesterday, 5 All-Ireland titles in a row. We were saying one of the great dynasties in the history of Gaelic games for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's a great achievement from them to, I suppose, I'd say about 5 or 10 minutes into the second half, I became very, very sure that they were going to go on and win it, because the first half, was sort of even enough. Obviously, Ignatz did themselves very proud in the opening half an hour to only be a couple of points down. They got the goal, which was very, very impressive. But I suppose, yeah, as the second half was kind of dragging on the first couple of minutes, unfortunately, from an Ignatz perspective, it just felt like it was game, set, and match, to be honest. Once Lindsay Noon got the goal, and it was a mountain decline from them from there. But listen, it's a great achievement still from Moneyglass to have gotten to the final, to have won the Ulster Championship, won the Antrim Championship, and yeah, listen, only losing by 6 points against this team is absolutely no disgrace at all either, to be honest with you. Like, this is an unbelievable panel. It's an unbelievable club, Kilkerrin, and congratulations to them. I believe I think they're going for a record in a couple of years' time. It's a record 7 or 8 in a row. I'm not sure if 7 or at this rate you'd put your house on them doing it, bar serious injuries over the next couple of years, or anything like that.
I was saying AFLW for me is the curveball.
Yeah,
they take a couple of their players, but
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think anyone's stopping them.
Well, nobody's stopping them in Galway anytime soon. Nobody's stopping them in Connacht anytime soon. It's realistically one of the other provincial winners that you'd have hopes for. But then again, when you see how much they've basically battered everybody else from provincial winners over the last couple of years, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the country. But yeah, congratulations to them. Remarkable achievement. And yeah, I hope they enjoy their celebrations. But congratulations to St. Ignatz as well. Fantastic year for them.
Yeah, it was a brilliant year. There's no question about it. And then, of course, I'll throw it right back to you, Liam, because you were in Croke Park today, All-Ireland Camogie Final. I was just chatting with Matthew there. Will it feel like, what was the feeling in the ground? Was the feeling in the ground that Attenroy got out of jail, or was the feeling that if the game had gone on for another minute, that maybe Attenroy would have stole the win? Like, what was the atmosphere like?
If the game had gone on another 60 seconds, we'd have an All-Ireland winner in Attenroy, to be honest with you. The momentum that they got from the goal. And I was sitting, me and Killian Whelan were doing the commentary for the Camrose game before that. We stayed around to watch the second game, and we said it ourselves. It got to a point where we just said, this game, it surely has to be over. It was, I believe it was 15 points to 8, or was it 15 points to 9 going into the final 2 minutes before stoppage time was added on, or anything like that. And like we were saying, they need 2 goals to draw this game or win this game, whatever. And I said, they're not even going to get one, because it just didn't seem like they were going to get a goal. They were not able to break down. Like, Finbar's defense was absolutely excellent. They were hunting in packs. They were defending fierce well. They got their matchups right. There was constantly 3 or 4 players chasing an Attenroy player at each junction. They weren't leaving them options. Even if, say, a player was down in the corner, down, say, the Davin stand side, beside the Hogan as well, around that corner, even if they tried to deliver the ball over across, trying to get the ball into the box, whatever, the swarm of bodies that were in blue, like, it would have just been impossible. So I really said to myself, if there's going to be a goal, we said it has to be a mistake, penalty, something like that. It's got to be a free goal. And in a way, it kind of was. the ball coming off the crossbar, and then you had Anna Jordan coming in and just pulling on. I'm pretty sure it was her. I think it was her that pulled on it because there were two of them there, but I'm pretty sure it was her that pulled on it in the end. And yeah, all of a sudden then they just got this excitement built around the Athenry support and the Finbars. I could see some of their management just starting to think, oh, okay, right. Because they were home and hosed. The game was done. It was over. Like, Finbars had one hand on the cup. And then just out of nowhere, like, it was such a dramatic end to the game. And in fairness to Athenry, they showed great character to come back in the end because, like, during the first half, we were saying Athenry had to keep within touching distance of Finbars. They can't allow them to get, a big scoreline because Finbars have the attack. They have the forwards to go and punish you and see the game out, whatever. Whereas we felt maybe Athenry didn't. But getting the goal, they got it at the right time. They got a 45. They tapped it over, won the next puck out. And from there, yeah, just an unbelievable point by Spina Rabbit at the end to level things. And yeah, they fairly announced the replay fairly quickly. It'll be the weekend of the 3rd and 4th of January. So it's a bit unfortunate for them that they had to think about it over Christmas. But regardless, it was a fantastic final, fantastic dramatic end to it. And thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. There's no question about it. Matthew, you mentioned as well about like the comeback and everything like that from Athenry. What changed?
Jeez, I think it was genuinely the goal from Anna Jordan, to be honest with you, because like obviously Therese Donoghue made that run, and obviously she was the player that hit the bar with the shot, and then once a goal goes in like that. But I think honestly it did change when the goal went in, and Athenry got a bit more confidence under their belts when it did happen. But as I said to you before, Seamus, the Bars had plenty of opportunities to put them away. There was one in particular, I think they were a point or two up, and Ellen Wiggin, the Bar, brilliant player, by the way, obviously, and a very pacey player, coming onto the pitch. She raced down, beat the Athenry defender for pace, and you're thinking, okay, maybe the eyes light up, maybe the goal is going to go on, but surely you have to put this over the bar. She passed it off to Emer Hurley, okay, that's fine. Pass it off to Emer, put it over the bar now. And then Emer gets, the Athenry defender gets a slight hook in it, and the ball goes wide, and you're thinking, wow, like this is the ultimate. Is bottle job a bad term, to be honest with you, lads?
I don't know if I'd call it a bottle job because they still, the defending was still really solid at the end in terms of like, because Athenry went for a goal a few times and they still held firm. But I do agree with you. There was definitely, you could get a sense off Finbars that they were just slowly retreating closer and closer to their own goal and trying to shell up and protect what they had. Because all of a sudden, Athenry were winning everything. All of a sudden, every puck out, every breaking ball, Athenry were winning it. And you're watching, thinking from the other side, where the hell has this been from Athenry for 50 minutes? Like, why is it taking them so long to get to this level in the game? Because as you're right, Finbars looked to have the game wrapped up, but then what happened with the switch of the momentum and everything like that? Therese Donoghue, a lot of people know her as well as Therese Marr. What a legend. Like, to still be doing the business. Like, she won All Ireland with Galway back in 2013. She was playing with Galway for a while before that as well. She's just one of those evergreen players that, like, it really is. Like, she's a perfect example of, like, class is permanent.
Yeah, and like what I see during the week, I don't know, is this her age now? She's 43 or 44.
Is she actually?
42, I think. I think she's 42.
42, and she's one of the best players on the pitch, without question. Like, genuinely, I was looking at her thinking, like, she could still do a job for Galway, 100%. Like, jeez, no question about it. Like, it would be, obviously, like, the commitment and everything like that. And, like, it became very obvious as well in the final few minutes who the county players were. Like, Derbla Higgins at 6, especially when the game was in the melting pot. She won a few turnovers there that were massive. You were mentioning about the opportunity, with Wiggins and Barrett. When she got through, Derbla Higgins was the one that got back and put the block in. I don't know if it was Ella herself that took the shot or did she lay it off to someone else, but it was Higgins that got back that got a block in. Like, just in the last couple of minutes, she was immense. Nothing got past her. She dispossessed Kate Wall as well and got a sideline cut at a crucial stage. Like, she was just a brick wall in that dying few moments where Athenry needed to keep winning possession and everything like that. Then Therese Donoghue obviously had the county experience, and then they were trying to get the ball into the likes of Sabina Rabbit. Like she was the obvious inside county star threat, and the bars as well, like the Cahalans, everything like that. That's one thing that was clear in this game too. That was as good a job as I've seen anybody in the club championship do on Orla Cahalan. They neutralised a lot of the bars' threats quite well, I thought.
Yeah. It fairness, yeah. I thought Orla Cahalan was quiet for most of the time, but in fairness, she played off some nice passes when she did get the ball, in fairness, and she still got 2 points. And she was well back out of the game by Dervla Higgins, so you have to give Orla a lot of credit for that. But
that's a quiet game, then that's a good sign.
What impressed me about the bars, in fairness, was there are other players that stepped up, like not just Orla Cahalan, not just Kate Wall, all them. Nicole Olden, who scored 11 points in the runs up to the final, she got 3 points for play. And I thought she was a menace up front, especially in the first half, I thought. Kiva McCarthy was good at stage. I thought Kira Golden was absolutely excellent around the middle of the park as well. Saoirse McCartan was well neutralised as well, I thought. She only got 1 point from play. She got 6, but 5 of them coming from frees. I thought the defensive line were very good for the bars, in fairness, up until obviously the last few moments. I thought Maeve Callahan was sensational at cutting out the danger. I thought Stephanie Punch, the captain of the bars team, was very, very good corner back as well. So
she got an amazing hook at a crucial stage on it was the Athenry centre forward,
Kerry O'Driscoll.
Yeah. But she was true, like goal on her mind, and she takes the swing off the left, and then amazing hook.
To be fair to Kerry O'Driscoll as well, I thought she was excellent. To be fair, like herself and Kate Wall, in fairness to them, they were always a driving force. They were always trying to go forward with the ball and try and create something. You know, even though maybe some of the time it didn't come off the way they would have liked, but I thought she had a very good game today. To be fair to her, and was one of the driving forces in getting her side back into the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was some excellent performances all over. I thought, to be fair, does it say something about Athenry? Would you be worried about them going to the replay, lads, that their best player, their overall best player, was Therese Dunn, an absolute legend of the game, with 42 years of age? Would that be a worry for Athenry going to the replay?
No, I wouldn't say so personally. I think it's like, because it's the here and now. Maybe for the future, yeah, but for the here and now, Therese Donoghue is still going to be good to go for that replay. So, in fact, it's actually probably because she, at the start of the championship, she wasn't starting for them. So what that game has clearly proven is she is absolutely still up to this standard. So we can put her at midfield for the replay and give her the number 8 jersey this time and start her there from the beginning. I know that she started the game, but she started with number 19 on, late inclusion. I'm thinking they're going with her next time because she was absolutely unbelievable. Always with a replay, lads, when a replay is on the horizon, the question replay is always, like, the main question with a replay is always, who has the bit between their teeth? Who has the initiative now? Which camp would you rather be in?
I mean, I still have a feeling that the Bars have more to offer in their forward line and they should have won the game. But in terms of like adrenaline, you'd probably prefer Athenry, just simply for the fact that they came back at the end, and had that game gone on, like I said, another 60 seconds, potentially even 30 seconds or whatever, like had the referee allowed one more puck out with one more play, then Athenry could easily have gone on and won the game in the end. But look, it's a tricky one. They have, just under a month now to get themselves prepared. The Bars can now go back and say, right, we dominated most of the game. It was just the final couple of minutes. We need to make sure now that the next time we go into the game, no matter what the scoreline is with a couple of minutes to go, we're still fully focused and we don't take our eye off the ball and we don't think about the cup until, the whistle is blown, whatever. But then from an Athenry perspective, you're thinking, if we can perform the way we did in the final 10 minutes over the course of the 60 minutes, then, again, they have a great opportunity. But yeah, look, I think from an actual team perspective, I still feel like I'd prefer to be in the Bars because I still feel like they have more to offer, both in the forward line. I think even still defensively today, up until the 59th minute, they'd only conceded 9 points, which is a very impressive feat in an All-Ireland final. But from an actual feeling like you want to go back out there again right now, I feel like probably Athenry, because like a lot of them, the players were like not celebrating, but like they were all like rejuvenated at the end because they got another day out. Whereas with the Bars, it felt like they were after losing it, So it'll tell a lot in the next couple of weeks. But it makes for a very, very interesting replay.
It does. I suppose it does. But the thing is, the scheduling of the game is so important. Like, if this game was a replay next week, you'd fancy Athenry to win it. Because you obviously, as Liam mentioned, the adrenaline is there and all that, and Athenry could get over the line because they were ecstatic afterwards and the Bars were devastated. The thing is, though, there's a Christmas break. There's a 2-weekend break now. So you would fancy, like, let's be honest, like, the All-Ireland final is not going to be at the forefront of the players' minds now. It's going to be spending Christmas with their families.
Yeah.
For now. And then it's All-Ireland final, adrenaline kicking in and all that. Because then, like, the original game is forgotten about. So when taking all that into account, you probably say the Bars maybe because of their attack, the more they can offer defensively as well and things like that. Athenry need Trace Donoghue to perform at the same level again, but I think the Bars will be more clocked next time. They will say we need to put like a speedster on Trace Donoghue just to keep up with her and keep up with her skills or whatever, and neutralise her involvement in the game. The thing is, Athenry have shown their cards a small bit with neutralising Orla Callahan's threat. They were going to put Dervla Higgins on her, so the Bars might come up with a plan to try and take Dervla Higgins out of the game as much as possible, if that is possible in any way. So I think the Bars probably, in that sense, probably would have learned more, and their attack and offer more, as Liam mentioned there. And the break, I think, it suits the Bars way more than it does Athenry. So it might age terribly, but I do think the Bars might have the edge when it comes to the replay.
I think the one thing is like the two of them, like the Bars can go back and go, do you know what? We had that game in the palm of our hands and we threw it away. And then if I'm in the Athenry camp, I'm going, here, we drew when we didn't play well for 50 minutes. Like, we drew when we were off the pace for the majority of the game, yet we still managed to get another day. So both of them can take something from this game, but going into a replay, you just never know, man. You never know who's going to have learned more about the opposition, everything like that. The one thing I will say is, as the game was going down to the final whistle, I was thinking you'd be sick, though, if you were Athenry and you'd beaten Sarsfields, you'd beaten Dixborough, the last two All-Ireland champions. You kick out probably two of the biggest heavyweights in the championship when it all begins. And then if you fall at the final hurdle by a point, it must be the biggest heartbreak ever. So part of me is happy that they got a second day out, and it's going to be one hell of a clash between these two because, again, toss a coin. Like, they're so evenly matched, and we'd be a brave man to put a lot of money on a winner. Anyway, that's the All-Ireland Camogie Final recapped. We're going to move now up north to the Ulster Senior Football Championship Final. And what a win this was for Scotstown. Scotstown, 19 points. Kilcoo, 16 points after extra time in the athletic grounds. Scotstown win their first Ulster Senior Football Championship since 1989. And they had to do it the hard way as well, beating Kilcoo after extra time. I have to say, when Kilcoo equalised with the last minute, questionable as well about how much time was added on. I did think have Scotstown just thrown this away. But for the second game in a row, they did similar against Newbridge, threw away a big lead, and then managed to get the job done anyway. For players like Darren Hughes, Kieran Hughes, Rory Began, who are just soldiers who've been around the block with Monaghan and their club for years, I'm delighted to see them get over the line in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And turns out me and Aaron got our prediction right, so we're delighted about that as well. Finally, a prediction of mine came true, thankfully. But yeah, look, I'm delighted for Scotstown, to be fair. They play some really nice football, have a lot of really nice players as well. And this is the thing, I was not enjoying the first half, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't enjoying it in the slightest. I thought it was a terrible, terrible game of football in the first half. I think you said it yesterday, Matthew, in the group chat. I think Kilcoo held on to the ball for 4 minutes, and it resulted in a Scotstown turnover and a score. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't score for 20 minutes, Kilcoo.
Yeah. Like that's madness. Like, I'm sorry.
With the new rules, how are you still boring with the new rules?
Just a point as well, lads, to make the stat even more embarrassing from a Kilcoo point of view. Their first shot came after 20 minutes.
I was about to say, wasn't that their first shot as well? The one that just went curled wide.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Like, you're just thinking with the new rules, you're thinking surely you have to shoot on site. Like, you're
Yeah.
keeping the ball
Yeah.
for 4
Yeah,
or 5
the one thing
minutes.
is there was a bad wind. But still,
It
20
was a
minutes
massive
crazy.
win. It was a massive win, and that
Yeah.
was something that did sort of concern me for Scotstown at halftime. And then they came out the second half, and it's almost as if the wind was no factor at all, to be honest with you, because they were still kicking points. Okay, Kilcoo started kicking their scores as well. But as the game was progressing, I actually was thinking, do you know what? Scotstown have it here. They're going to do it. They're going to actually win it. And then in typical Scotstown fashion, they decide to try and make things interesting, you know, for neutral perspective. But yeah, look, I mean, I think one thing, first of all, Rory Beggan. I think we said it at the start of the year as like a joke that he could end up as the top scorer in the inter-county season. 11 points. Like, I'm sorry now, when do you see a goalkeeper scoring 11 points? 2-pointer rule, place balls or not, 11 points from a goalkeeper is absolutely insane. And some of
Good
those
thing
kicks as well.
to tag on to that, Liam. Beggan's the first goalkeeper I've seen where Beggan scores 2 points or something in a game, and I genuinely hear people being like, "Oh, they held Beggan to 2 points." I'm like, he's the goalkeeper. How has he got so good that people are talking about? Oh, well, they held Beggan to X amount. Like, but 11 points in the provincial final. Talk about, you know,
Clutch.
when it's time to turn up. Like, he turned up.
He did, and some of those kicks as well, and especially at this time of the year, like they weren't simple either. They were long, long ways out. And there was even another one I believe he took from about 60, 65 yards out in the middle of the park as well, near the stand. That was, as it was coming down, I was thinking, no, if he does this, then that's ridiculous. That's outrageous. Like that he should be going to the NFL, to be honest with you, or he should be playing in the Premier League or something. But no, no, he was sensational. And even seeing the celebration at the end after extra time, the absolute raw emotion of him jumping. It was like, you see Shane Lowry jumping when he retained the Masters, just the jump. Like it's what brings out the emotion in winning a provincial championship for your club. It was absolutely beautiful to see, and like men in tears basically. It was but look, great credit still to Kilcoo. They fought their way back, they dragged it to extra time. And listen, with the likes of Paul Devlin especially putting a huge shift all across the game, but just wasn't to be. And look, they might have their regrets, but I think overall, over the 60 minutes and definitely over the 80 minutes, I think they'll have to sit there and say we were second best today.
Apologies, boys. I have to grab my charger. Matthew, wheel for a minute.
Yeah, he was I suppose from the game's point of view, like the scores from play actually were, what was it? 7 points to Kilcoo, 8 points to Scotstown. I think Colin Parkinson put this tweet up as well, that after, what was it, after 36 minutes or something, Stephen Sherlock scored 16 points individually between Kilcoo and Scotstown. They scored 9 points, something like that.
Jesus Christ, that's outrageous.
Look, it was a great end and all that. I'm delighted for Scotstown winning their first Ulster championship in 36 years, but at the same time, Liam, you have to say, under the new rules, this wasn't a great watch, was it? Like,
No.
The Camogie today, it was good. Like the LGFA was good at points as well between Ornitz and Kilkerrin, Clonberne. This just wasn't a good watch at all. And I will say, look, I think either side aren't that great. Scotstown, the thing is, like they've got away with murder in many ways twice in a row against Newbridge and Kilcoo. It was a brilliant win for them. But at the same time, wow, it wasn't a great watch at all. And look, I think if Bridget's performance at her utmost best, I think Bridget's do beat this Scotstown team, because I didn't think Scotstown were that great. It's just Kilcoo were very, very bad for a substantial amount of time, and Scotstown let them back into the game. I was just discussing with Liam there, Seamus, to score, what was it, 8 points from play to Scotstown, 7 points from play to Kilcoo. I think Colin Parkinson tweeted as well that Stephen Sherlock scored 16 points individually after 36 minutes. Between Kilcoo and Scotstown, it was 9 points.
Yeah. Well, I remember at halftime as well, I was like, look, the win definitely was rough, but like to go in at halftime having only scored 1 point, I was like, what on earth is going on in that dressing room? Like, and you were that, like, the other thing as well is that 1 point, that saved them from, I would say, quite a bit of embarrassment, because if that doesn't go up, you know that that's doing the rounds at halftime. You know that that's getting articles written about it. Kilcoo failed to score in the first half of the Ulster final. Like, and people would be like, what on earth is going on here? Watching the game, they were so slow in their build-up that Scotstown were just able to defend against them. Like, there was no pace in the Kilcoo move. I get it in terms of the wind and everything like that when you're taking the shot on, but you can still move the ball quick. You can still pass it quick. They were so slow in terms of how they attacked. They constantly let Scotstown set up. And Scotstown were able to get themselves into that brilliant position. But again, lads, their Achilles heel, when are they going to pay for this? They threw the game away. Like, they were really, really lucky that, you know, they then got another run at extra time. Because imagine if there was, I don't know, imagine if that was a 2-pointer kick or something like that. Imagine if they took that shot from further out and stole it in. Scotstown would only have themselves to blame because they were in a great position to win. And going into the game against St. Bridget's, that semi-final, okay, it's a perfect place to be. You know, McCaig, the manager, David McCaig, he can go in and be like, we're in an All-Ireland semi-final and we still have some stuff to work on. We still have to make sure that Achilles heel of, you know, taking our eye off the ball, that we don't let it come back to bite us in this game. Now, a lot of debate as well was over how much time the referee added on at the end of the game. Now, again, I said this on the pod back when my pod was called Play on GA. Matthew, me and you did that video 3 years ago, and I was calling at the time for a hooter. We introduced the hooter, and guess what? We haven't had a lot of problems with the hooter at all. And that, again, was a glaring example of a problem with the timekeeping. And I know for a fact, if Kilcoo had won that game, that debate about the timekeeping of the referee coming towards full time would be everywhere today.
Probably would be, yeah.
Yeah,
There's no question about it.
No, it's a tricky situation, and I heard, I don't know, is this true about the league next year, the inter-county, that they're scrapping the once the hooter goes, like they're saying once the hooter goes, the game is over. I actually think the way it was actually fine.
Yeah.
Once the hooter goes, one last play. I think that was fine.
No, that's what it needs to be. They've got.
Yeah.
Are they actually doing that?
That's what I've heard anyway.
So my first reaction to that is that's a ticking time bomb. Like 100%, that's a ticking time bomb. I give you 2 examples of that. 2 examples. Number 1, we've already seen it cause big problems. Do you remember in the league, Meath against was it Cavan that Meath?
Yeah.
Meath against Westmeath.
Westmeath.
And Meath scored a goal on the hooter, and there was a load of debate about was the ball kicked before the hooter or after the hooter? Should that goal have stood? If they had one more play after, okay, maybe there would have been a bit of debate about should Westmeath get one more play, etc., etc. But that's not as bad as having that situation. That's your warning shot. Imagine if that's in an All-Ireland final or an All-Ireland semi-final. And on top of that, the second example I'll give is when Kildare played Clare in the All-Ireland Intermediate LGFA final a couple of years ago. So the LGFA do that the minute the hooter goes, the game's over. But Clare took a shot for goal. Kildare were leading. Kildare won the game. But Clare had one more attack. They floated the ball up. It broke to one of the Clare forwards. On the hooter, she took the shot. Like, I mean, literally as the hooter went, she's kicking it. And the ball flew and struck a Kildare defender. And then that's it. But if that ball flew into the net, it would have been completely up to the referee to decide, did you kick it before the hooter or did you kick it after? It's a ticking time bomb. I'll stand by this. And I'll say it whenever it kicks up. I told you so. It's going to cause a problem.
Yeah, I suppose it. Oh, there he goes again. There it is. Hay fever's kicking in, Matthew, is it?
Yeah, the Christmas season.
But yeah, no, it's the hooter. Like you said there, it becomes a problem when there is something absolutely massive on the line, like an All-Ireland semi-final, All-Ireland final, or even to a degree, maybe to a less degree, a league final or something like that, because it's still silverware at the end of the day. But look, I think the way the hooter is, we had it this year was absolutely fine. It goes, but then you have maybe one last attack, and then as soon as the ball goes dead, okay, the game's over. Similar enough to rugby. The clock hits 80, but the game doesn't end. It ends when the ball goes out, or obviously if you win a free or a penalty, whatever, you can take it, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be doing it like LGFA. I think even the LGFA should change it to, if the ball is still in play, let it play out and see where it goes from there, rather than just like, could you imagine? I don't know, just an example. Could you imagine Kerry are playing, just for instance, Dublin in the All-Ireland final next year? Dublin are winning 14-13. David Clifford has the ball. He's about to kick a 2-pointer. Whistle goes. That was
I'd be happy. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd be like, don't let David Clifford do.
Well, you'd be delighted, but I'm just saying, like, it would cause.
Become biased real quick if that happened. I never would.
Podcast that night. I love the referee. I love the system. But
I always said
this
was the right way.
But yeah, I'm like, it would just cause such uproar, and I don't know. It nearly would be, obviously, if you won the All-Ireland, it'd be great, but it'd be no benefit to anybody to a degree. So I don't know. I'd be in favour of just, I think, leaving it as it is. But yeah, we'll wait and see how it goes.
I've just got confirmation. I see an RT article. This was on the 2nd of December, so it's pretty recent. The top line is Central Council have decided that the hooter in the league and the championship Gaelic football will signal an immediate end to games next season. And they're saying the reason that they're bringing this in for the league and championship is because some games extended well beyond when the hooter was sounded in the league and the championship, which I don't think was a problem, but most people don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
But how long did they go on for? Like 5 minutes? Most games get an added time of 5 minutes. And the thing that always annoys me is, as a fan, is like, it's so easy to time waste, and it happens all the time. And it's so frustrating when you see a goalkeeper move slowly to take the kick out or take the puck out, or then all of a sudden everybody has cramp, and all of a sudden, the physio needs to come on the pitch to help someone put a contact lens in, all this stuff. And you're just like, it's so rinse, repeat every year, every game. And I'm always like, can they not fix this? It is fixable. Other sports have taken care of it. And if you make the time more efficient, you do kill a lot of time wasting measures because they become irrelevant. The reason that teams keep doing them is because they work. They do kill seconds. They do kill time. And the other thing as well on top of that is, how many times have we seen it where it's been unbelievably apparent that the referee is like allowing another play potentially for a draw? Like that maybe they feel a bit of pressure, that maybe they've been a bit unfair to one of the teams, so they allow one more attack. It did feel like that with the Scotstown Kilcoo game, that like he let that game go on for ages. And then the minute Kilcoo equalised, he blew it up. And I was like, what the like did that 4 minutes of added time, and they kicked the equaliser on 5 minutes 30 seconds into added time. Like, so they got 90 extra seconds for what? What happened? And the other thing is as well is that it's a constant problem. And eventually they're going to have one day where it's going to happen in an All-Ireland final, where there's going to be massive disputes over the time. And I just think with the hooter, the perfect system, as far as I'm concerned, I've always thought this, the perfect system is the hooter and then one more play, and that's it. And the clock stops on every big stoppage in the game. So if someone gets injured, the clock stops. If someone's time wasting, the clock stops. If there's substitutes being made, the clock stops.
Yeah.
Things like that could kill a lot of time wasting measures and make sure that you're getting as close to 70 minutes being played as possible.
100%.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't get down off the soapbox anyway.
I don't think anybody's in disagreement over that. I'm just puzzled as to why they're changing the rules when it actually worked well. Even though there are some complainers, and it's like you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
It's just I think it was so needless, to be honest, to change it. I think the way it worked, like I bring it as I have an example that I went to a game, Cork against Roscommon in Portlaoise. Roscommon needed a draw to stay in the championship. They were 2 points down, and they had one more play. to decide whether to stay in the championship, go into the preliminary quarterfinal or not. And Cork do that too. The Hooter Sounds, Roscommon try to build it around for the last play. Dermot Burta eventually has a 2-pointer kick. Daniel O'Mahony blocks out the ball. Sean Bowler kicks the ball out. Game over. Yeah. I think that was a good end to the game. But when you think about it, if this system is implemented, the current system was implemented for that game, then Roscommon could have rushed the shot. And the ball would have ended wide or something like that anyway, and there would have been disputes over it. So look,
again, I agree with you. They know exactly how long they have left. They can look at the clock and go, we've got 40 seconds left to run this. And let's be honest about it, we've seen it with perfect effect in the All-Ireland final. Do you remember when Paddy Clifford hung on to the ball and then David Clifford timed his run to get that 2-pointer just on the stroke? Time? Like, that was a real thrilling way to finish the first half. It was a superb way to do it.
And the way he ran off as well.
Like Peter's saying here, they're too impatient on rules. They won't wait for the cement to set. They just rip it out. But my thing is that they'd already seen evidence that this works. Why change it? And I get that, you have all the rules. I would have been amazed if all of the rules that made the game better got through, because you're always going to have people that want to push back on certain rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, what is naturally going to happen is someone is going to get screwed over massively by this. Like either a club or a county is going to get screwed over by the timekeeping. And then they'll probably change it again. But until then, they're probably going to stick with the status quo. My thing with it is like the referee has enough on his plate with refereeing the game in terms of making sure that the fouls are being called correctly and everything like that. I would look at, like, especially for the inter-county games, the All-Ireland finals and stuff, take the timekeeping out of the referee's hands. Like, make his job as easy as possible. Make it that the referee only has to call the fouls and not add on correctly how much time and everything like that. Timekeeping over to a fourth official or someone, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, Peter here saying, hey lads, mighty win for Scotstown. A scrappy game. Think the Bars have to be good at. They nearly had 1 foot up the steps. Galway hurler Pádraig Mannion in the Athenry backroom team with Joe Rabbit. Peter with a good question, lads. What do you make of Clontarf's motion going to Congress that county players must play X minutes or X club games per season? I seen something. Was that like a Leitrim club that was pushing for a motion? I seen it on Sports Show that a club is pushing that county players would have to be selected from the clubs that are in that county championship or something. So it was like a knock-on effect would be like Shane Walsh wouldn't be able to play for Galway because he's playing with Crokes or something like that. Or maybe am I misreading it?
Or what, that he had to play certain minutes with Kilcoo in order to play for Galway? Or
I don't know. I seen, to be honest, Peter, you caught me a little bit off guard. Peter says Leitrim club pushing that argument. I did see something about it. But yeah. Yeah, I'd say we'll probably leave it just for now because we're not brushed up enough on it, I think it's fair to say. But jumping back into the game before we wrap up on that game, just want to say as well, incredible achievement by Scotstown. First Ulster title since 1989. And as well, to beat a team that hammered them the year before is no mean feat. They were absolutely superb. They deserve the victory. They deserve their celebrations. They'll have a good Christmas. And then they'll get into the All-Ireland semi-final against St. Bridget's. Looking at the rest of the games, so across the weekend, we had the All-Ireland Intermediate LGFA final. Knockbride of Cavan, they beat Caltracoons of Galway by 3-10 to 4 points in Croke Park. And we had the All-Ireland Junior LGFA final where Muckalee of Kilkenny remarkably beat Cromain of Kerry by 113 to 2-9, and that was in Parnell Park. Matthew, you've had your eye on this one throughout the season. Take it away. What an incredible result this is.
It was a superb result for Muckalee, in fairness, and it's just brilliant for Kilkenny LGFA that they have not just a provincial win but an All-Ireland win to boot as well, and it just boosts the profile of Kilkenny LGFA. And the more teams we want, the more teams are successful, the better in terms of the sport, because you look at Kilkenny in men's football, they're in the junior championship. You hope one day they'll be in the National Football League. For now, though, they're slogging over with London, New York's B teams, which isn't the right way to go. But you look at the LGFA team, they're in the little Division 4 for a number of years now. I think this is their third year in a row next year that they are in that division. And now you look at Muckalee, who have the majority of the Kilkenny LGFA team. and they go ahead and win the junior championship. I think it's one of the stories of the year. I think it's a sensational story in more ways than one. And when you look at some of the players involved as well, like I've kept my eye on this as well, like Katie Nolan, who is a brilliant player for the Kilkenny Camogie team, and one of the probably the main players of the Kilkenny forward line. She scored 10 points in this final in football out of 113. Very good display from her, in fairness. And she got the winning free at the very end when Cremon obviously had a goal at the end from Roisin Griffin and the point from Mary Ellen McDonald. And you're thinking, okay, the Kerry crowd, they're going to gain up on them. But then luckily, what a way to win it, obviously, with Katie Nolan striking the winning point. And obviously, I've seen photos of herself and Edwina Keane, the Kilkenny Camogie legend, obviously with her as well, who plays full forward on this team. It's great that some of the Kilkenny Camogie greats and brilliant players actually put their weight in many ways to the Kilkenny LGFA story, and it's absolutely brilliant in so many ways. And I think that's an indication that everybody in Kilkenny wants LGFA to develop. And I think it's a great thing as well. Laura Green got an early goal in this week game. Katie Purcell got 3 points as well. So very good display, very good win for Buckley, in fairness to them. And what a win and what a way to do. Look, you have to give a lot of credit to Cremon. They stuck with them. Ema Burkett, good display with 3 points. Roisin Griffin had a brilliant display with 2 goals and 3 points. Mary Kate Smith also scored. Maggie Quirk as well, and Mary Ellen McDonald. So it was a good display from Cremon. To only lose the All-Ireland final by a point is not a disgrace. And what a display from them in many ways this season. But it is Buckley's day, it's Kilkenny LGFA's day, and absolutely brilliant win, and congratulations to all involved. As for Knockbride winning the intermediate crown, they were well in control of this game at the intermediate. They were 2-3 to no score up at halftime in Crow Park, and it just looked like Culture Coons just weren't at it, the races at all. In fairness to Abby Connor, she got 6 points. Gia McCabe got the player of the match award from TG Carr. She got 1 goal and a point. Sarah McCabe got a goal from a penalty as well. Katie Rogers getting a goal kind of to wrap it up in the second half. Very good display. Look, Sarah New deserves a lot of credit for Culture. She got 3 points out of their possible 4. But look, I think it's a brilliant win for that Pride, and the stories coming out of that is brilliant as well. I think a main story out of this, Rebecca Davey, actually a sister of Lindsay Davey, the Dublin legendary LGFA player. They're actually, for I don't know how she ended up in Cavan and playing for that Pride, but there you go. It's just a brilliant story in many ways. And she could say to Lindsay that, look, Lindsay can have her All-Ireland inter-county medals, that's fine. I have the club medal. So look, that's the main thing out of that. And look, congratulations to Rebecca Davey, and congratulations to everybody in Knockbride and everybody in Cavan LGFA for winning the crowds. And congratulations to Knockbride, to Kilkerrin, Clonberne who won the senior, and especially to Buckley in the junior.
Absolutely, and big shout to Knockbride and to Muckley for their respective successes. Liam, I'm throwing this one to you next because you were in the commentary for this one. First, big shout to Brigini Oga of Antrim, who beat St. Dominic's of Roscommon by 1-8 to 1-5 in the All-Ireland Junior Camogie Final. That one took place in Dunamore Ashburn. But the All-Ireland Intermediate Camogie Final took place in Croke Park in Liam. You were commentating on this one. Cam Ross of Laois beating Ballincollig of Cork by 114 to 110.
Yeah, and it was a strange sort of a game. It was very much a game of 2 halves, to be honest with you, because going into the game, like Ballincollig are a team that are starting to come on the up again. They have a lot of young players in their team as well. And I suppose the feeling was Camross maybe, not that they didn't have to do much to win it, but I feel like maybe they had a sense of, okay, we can win this game maybe comfortably enough, but it was far from it. Ballincollig put up a huge battle. I mean, Hannigan, a corner forward, I believe she's 16, I think, or 17 years of age. And the goal that she rattled in was absolutely, you'd swear she'd been playing for 15, 20 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely unbelievable move. Goulding at full forward as well. Like, she was just an unbelievable presence in the full forward line in the first half. But I think Camross got a grips to it in the second half, especially. There wasn't, like, they didn't concede a score from play in the second half, Camross, which when I said that, when I was interviewing some of the players afterwards, they were kind of looking at me going, Jesus, way to boost our ego even more, you know, after winning an All-Ireland. But yeah, no, like, it was an incredible achievement from Camross. Sarah Ann Fitzgerald had just a game of her life. She was absolutely sensational. It was an unbelievable achievement from them. She took one hit in the second half when she was going to hook a ball, and she came back onto the pitch. She had a big bandage over her head, and we said it on commentary. She looked like she'd been through a war, like an actual legit war. Like, it was heroic to see. And yeah, herself, Amy Collier got 3 points from midfield. She was absolutely sensational. Grania Delaney had a superb game. Scully wing forward worked her socks off. Erin Walsh, very unlucky not to get a goal or two, to be honest with you. Got to give great credit to Hartnett in nets for Ballincollig. She pulled off some unbelievable saves, especially at the start of the second half. And look, the goal from Fitzgerald was, it was a typical old school pull on the ground into the back of the net. You love to see it, don't you? But yeah, look, it was a fantastic second half from Camross. They took control and they managed to win the game out in the end. And it's an incredible achievement for Erin Delaney. I've been speaking with him a lot the last couple of weeks. He's a passionate Camross man. They're passionate about their hurling and their camogie and everything down there. And as he said, there won't be a cow milk in Camross. There won't be anything done in Camross for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or as I think he said, they might not be done for the next year, to be honest with you. But no, they're a tightly knit group. They're a great group. And I believe the centre back, Donna Mortimer, I think she's actually, I don't think she actually teaches her, but Erin Walsh, our corner forward, I believe she's one of her students, which is even funnier. But it's a great thing about GEA that she's in the same school as she's teaching in. Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic to see. But yeah, it's an unbelievable achievement for them. And commiserations to Ballincollig, though. They're a great team. They put in a great effort. Their manager after the game was full of praise for them. It was Kevin O'Brien, I think his name was, who we spoke to afterwards. He was full of praise for his side and said, listen, we'll be back again next year. But yeah, it's a great performance from Camross. And there was a Cuddy playing at wing back. I saw one of the comments there. There was a Cuddy playing at wing back, a very famous name down in the Camross side of the world. But yeah, congratulations to Camross, commiserations to Ballincollig, but they'll be definitely back again potentially next year.
Just a question there, Liam. Sarah Ann Fitzgerald, absolutely brilliant today, by the way, but she's the Leach LGFA player, is she?
Yeah, she's won multiple All-Irelands at LGFA level and Camogie level, whatever. She's one of the best dual players to ever play for Leach. She had a terrible injury this year that ruled her out. I believe it was her ACL. I remember interviewing her before their All-Ireland final against Tyrone earlier this year, and I was down in Camross last Saturday. I got invited down to the Poets Cottage to interview some of the players or whatever, and I met her and I just said, how's your leg now? And she just looks at me and goes, it better be right for next week. But no, she's a great character, and they're all great characters down there. They're a lovely bunch, and I'm actually genuinely delighted for them. They seem like really, really nice people, and yeah, no, she's a credit to herself. She put in a huge shift, and she was a real leader for them, especially in that second half. And yeah, no, it's fantastic for Fitzgerald as well. One of the best dual players to ever come out of Leash.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Massive congratulations to all involved. And before we wrap up, going to give a massive shout as well, Peter. I know you're a happy man too. Kildare clubs winning the football championships at intermediate level and at junior level. Salins of Kildare winning at intermediate. Grange Noblin of Kildare winning at junior level. Incredible results. Massive congratulations to all involved. But that brings another end to our latest episode here, episode 29 of Cúilín Media. Massive congratulations to Kilkerrin, Clonberne, to Scotstown for winning Ulster, Kilkerrin making a 5 in a row as well. The Camogie Final, they'll have to do it all again. And massive congratulations to any club who achieved national success across the weekend. That is it from us for another episode here. We will see you on Thursday for another weekend preview show. But until then, Follow your instinct, baby. Follow your instinct.